Ellie and Joel met each other in The Last of Us, Ellie was a pretty hardened teenager. This DLC, Left Behind, is all about a younger, more innocent Ellie and her strong friendship with Riley.
What did the triangle say to the circle?
What is that?
You're so pointless.
Fuck you! You found another pun book?
Now, I can't speak from experience because I haven't been a teenage girl myself, but it felt pretty authentic.
Yeah, I mean, it felt pretty natural to me, and it was nice just seeing Ellie goofing around like a regular teenager. And of course, it's such a contrast to the horror we know is all around them.
In your face!
And it's just nice seeing a game put so much emphasis on developing its characters. A good half of this chapter is spent just walking around and chatting. It's pretty brave for a third-person shooter to take such lengthy timeouts between the action. And there's such realism to the banter between them both that I kept finding myself drawing this out to hear all of their dialogue.
What do you think?
Adorable.
Why, thank you, kind pigeon.
And that's a sign of being truly invested in these characters, and that's something this game does exceptionally well.
Yeah, I just love all the casual references to things that we take for granted today that are so alien to them.
What's a Facebook? Maybe it prints our faces in a book?
In between the moments where we see the girls having fun together, the game also keeps flashing forward. These later scenes are set towards the end of the original game during the winter portion. Here we're seeing a much more independent Ellie. Joel's been wounded and Ellie is on the hunt for medicine.
Yes.
These sections are a mix of scavenging and combat that felt very reminiscent of that original game. However, again, playing as Ellie, she has far less weapons than Joel, so you have to be a bit more cautious. She still has so much fight in her though, doesn't she?
Absolutely. The highlight for me was this three-way battle.
Hey, what'd you guys find outside?
Not a damn thing.
There's a bunch of hostile survivors looking for Ellie, but what they didn't know is there were also some infected clickers in the next room. This is developer Naughty Dog's combat at its best.
Yeah, the combat still packs a lot of punch. This may be a small niggle, but I did get a bit frustrated with hints popping up a little bit too early. The little L3 icon would often ding unnecessarily. Go away, I'm not lost. I'm just being thorough about my scavenging.
Weston's Pharmacy. That sounds promising.
So, what are you giving it?
Well, there is nothing radically new here, and it's not super long, but I still think it's absolutely worth jumping back into this just to simply have more of that splendid storytelling. I'm giving it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I'm just so in awe of these characters. I mean, Ellie was already one of my favorite gaming heroines, and now I just feel like I know her that much better, having seen this extra side of her. And that ending was so masterfully handled, so touching and brave too, especially when it feels like so many blockbuster games are just playing it safe these days. I'm giving this 9.5.
And now it's time for us to return to the high seas with another DLC expansion, Assassin's Creed 4: Freedom Cry. Freedom Cry is set 15 years after the events of Black Flag. With Kenway back in dreary old London, this time it's our old friend Adewale at the helm. Now a fully fledged brother of the Assassin's Guild, Adewale is continuing the honourable pursuit of Templar genocide.
The DLC kicks off with great pace. You're thrown straight into a tough but familiar sea battle. As the odds turn against you, you're forced to flee through a raging storm. Eventually overcome by elements, you're thrown overboard only to drift ashore at Port-au-Prince, a town fueled by slavery.
It's here where our hero finds himself torn between his assassiny duties and fighting the demons of his past.
Human cargo makes for lucrative trade.
One of the issues that I have with Adewale as a character is that he's very two-dimensional.
Profit makes them ignorant.
Captain Kenway?
Kenway was unpredictable and, let's be honest, a bit of a jerk, which was fun to watch. Adewale is just so straight and narrow and, to be honest, kind of boring.
Yeah, it's good to have some contrast though, and there are some great supporting characters that you meet along the way.
You know nothing.
You have the brand of a slave, the eloquence of a scholar, hands of a sailor, and an assassin's hood. Few weapons. I think the storm stranded you.
But yes, Adewale doesn't keep you guessing for long as he quickly joins the rebels in their effort to abolish slavery.
Perhaps our needs may align for a time. What do you need?
Recruits, liberated slaves. The warriors among them join me. The others grow the community for which we fight.
Freeing slaves and recruiting militia will unlock a series of useful bonuses. There are quite a few ways to do this. Stealthily clearing plantations and taking down slave vessels yield the best results. But there are smaller random events peppered throughout the port which will also contribute.
You can interrupt auctions and slave marches, free slaves from cages, and carry injured slaves to freedom. That said, essentially they all end up being the same fight patterns. Short fight, release prisoners, short fight, release prisoners. It's tedious work, especially as you need to free certain amounts of slaves before the story missions unlock.
Tedious? No, I'll never tire of those swashbuckling duels. There has been a slight change to the arsenal for Freedom Cry. Adewale's weapon of choice is the machete. It's brutal and boasts some devastating takedowns, but it also doesn't offer anything new to the combat mechanics. The blunderbuss, however, allows for some interesting new methods of attack. Its high damage, widespread shot can take down groups of bad guys. I found myself actually herding large groups of enemies in an effort to take down as many as I could with one shot. You feel pretty badass.
Yeah, that was about the only new feature that I liked. There are more chests, secret loots, and dive points for the explorers out there, and these will stretch the playtime out to about 6 hours. But if you follow the story, you can probably knock this over in about 4 hours. I have to say, Hex, I was pretty disappointed that this wasn't going to be a legendary sea monster battle pack. I want to fight the almighty Cthulhu! Or the giant squid that Ubisoft already made in the last game as an Easter egg. You could even make it canon friendly by making it some sort of Abstergo film project. Just make it happen, Ubisoft, I don't care how.
Canon friendly. Double meaning in that. Well, while that all sounds amazing, Badge, I really enjoyed Adewale's fight for freedom, so I'm giving it 8 out of 10.
I'm giving it 6.5.
Désolé. I have nothing to offer but thanks.
Nothing else is needed.